Actions with journalist and analyst Izak Khomo. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll take a slightly different dimension to this conversation and focus on the Zimbabweans, on the diaspora. We don't have official figures as yet as to how many Zimbabweans, how many of these Zimbabweans live in the diaspora in other parts of the world, but we do know that it's quite a sizable and a significant number of Zimbabweans. And what role can they play in Zimbabwe's election, and what kind of an impact would it have on the, their exclusion would have on the Zim election results? Well,
first of all, they've been excluded. They won't be able to vote. And it's a sizable population. It runs into millions. Yeah, I think it's over 2 million, 3 million. But then that again, it will have a drastic effect on the vote, because basically these people are basically economic migrants or economic refugees. Yeah, so they ran away from situation which were put in place by the policies of the ruling party. So basically when it comes to their vote, you can say 100% they'll vote for the opposition. So now that is where the diaspora vote is very, very important. Yeah, but again now they've been ruled out. Now there are arguments whether it's right or wrong.
Surely the government, particularly the ruling party, the ZANU-PF, knows the importance of this diaspora vote. Why aren't they pushing for it?
Well, they won't push for it because basically, for number one, it will be against them, isn't it? Yeah, they are the ones who actually had sort of implementing policies which actually took the economic situation of Zimbabwe to where it is, and whereby these people were actually running away from poverty to the diaspora. I mean, not to the diaspora, to the neighboring countries. Now, these people won't vote for the ruling party; they'll vote for the opposition. But there again, you find that there are many sort of arguments about whether these people should be allowed to vote or not. People pointed to the fact that even when people are resident within a country, if you've got to vote for the legislative body, you've got to belong to a constituency, and when you belong to a constituency, you've got to be registered in that constituency. You cannot actually sort of be resident in one constituency and go and vote to the other constituency, and that's why things are lax. People are using the ruling parties are using this discrepancy by busing in people. But now the people in exile, which constituency do they belong to? They could be manipulated by the opposition to say that, okay, we are weak in such a constituency. Now all you guys, you vote as if you belong to that constituency. So there again, you find there's arguments for and against. Yeah. But again, for the presidential elections, well, I don't know, they could vote for the president, but again, they're not in the country. So these are the arguments not being used by me, but by the people in power to fight against this diaspora vote.
Yeah, and we've heard in the package a short while ago, one of the Zimbabweans living in South Africa calling an end to the militarization of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. We've seen also a short while ago, 2 months ago actually, to be more precise, Zimbabweans in Cape Town have been protesting, calling an end to such a militarization of the ZEC, and calling upon the ZEC to stick to the SABC, the SADC electoral guidelines. And some were even saying that the ZCC should answer to the people of Zimbabwe and not to ZANU-PF. That's a loaded statement. It's actually a very pregnant statement that should be taken note of.
It's a very important statement. People do not know actually how Zimbabwe has been run under Mugabe. I mentioned that Zimbabwe under Mugabe, basically it was run by it was a security core state, whereby basically everything was being run by the security cluster. The security cluster used to meet on Monday, and then the cabinet used to meet on Tuesday. But all decisions were taken in the security cluster. Yeah? So all elements of government were under the security cluster. Right now you find that the Zimbabwean executive is also controlled by the same security cluster. Mnangagwa was a very important person. He was a minister of security in Zimbabwe. But his first vice president, Chimwenga, he's a part of the security cluster. Yeah, he's a retired general. And his second vice president, Muhadi, he was in charge of the intelligence.
Okay.
So you find that even the government, it has the security classes still got.
Unfortunately, we don't have much time, but
Yeah,
Zimbabwe's...
but again, but,
Yeah.
the Electoral Commission is just an extension of the same thing.
And they've been saying that the elections will definitely not be free and fair. Are they exaggerating, or are their concerns justified?
No, the elections have been abused all along, but the elements of abuse are still there, intact. So I will not say that it's free and fair,
Okay.
but it's susceptible to be abused, as it's been abused before then.
Right. Mr. Khomo, thank you so much for insight. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Journalist and analyst on African affairs, Izak Khomo, joining us live in studio.